I'm here with Margrethe Aanestad. She is an artist from Norway, and we have known each other for quite some time, since 2010, I think. So we have been just chatting a little bit to recap what's going on. So when we met, was a show in the at the building where she's right now. It was called The Meeting. It's ISCP in Bushwick.
Right.
So maybe let's talk about that first.
That was actually a collaboration between some artists, international artists that were close with a common friend. His name was Carl Spurk, and he passed away. He committed suicide, and I think that was in 2005.
Mm-hmm, right.
I'm not sure, but there was like a long time, and we had like a group conversation over the borders, and then it turned out there was a possibility to do collaborations, both actually as a book and a show at this specific location. So you are the curator because you also knew Carl, and then you did this collaboration together with Nick Klein.
Right.
Yeah.
Beautiful show. It was really so great. It was a lot of work by this a common friend of ours, Carl Spurk, like we said, and he just was super inspiring, but has not really shown much. And so that show really gave him an exposure, and it was beautiful. And I think the work that came along with that, and it was really, really cool. So we had the possibility to do it at ISCP was kind of a great opportunity, and that's how we met. And so then, like a year later, we Margrethe came back to me through a curator with a show called Between Mountain, and that was really interesting too. That was extremely interesting.
Yeah. So actually, I think it was the same year as we did the show at ICP. I'm not sure but that's not so important. But the whole thing with the Between Mountain project was that we also, again, in collaboration with you, Monika, and Nick Klein, decided to do projects in apartments in Brooklyn, in your neighborhood, around Open Source Gallery, and also in Manhattan. So it was basically a week of several artistic interventions in apartments, and then we also had a show in your space and open source. So that was like in 2012.
Right. That was.
And then so it's been that was like I think it was weird because it was like still, even it was before almost Facebook was a thing, at least, you know, in general, and also Instagram and all that. So we did all these kind of ways to contact people and connect with people and have an audience.
Right.
So that was really funny, but it turned out really well, I think.
It was.
And then the year after, I did a solo show in your space.
I'm going to share my screen really quickly on that one now. Where is it again? Here.
Oh.
That was called Herein. Sorry, that's my German accent.
Yeah, nice.
And that was really, I think it was a very, very beautiful show. And tell us a little bit more about that. I'm going to show the pictures.
Right. So I was back then, as I'm drawing in pastel, like soft pastels, and I'm working in sculpture. And at that time I was very much into finding objects that were having this kind of rectangular shapes, and I did a lot of research around, and I also was inspired by the colors actually of New York and the streets of New York, and finding those materials interesting, also sculpture-y in a way, because styrofoam or different materials have different colors than, for example, in Norway, like you see here. And I collected a bunch of stuff, and then I brought it into the space, and I worked in the space, I guess, for a week, and I just interacted with the different features of the room and how the architecture and interior kind of is. Mm-hmm. There are details that I kind of both enhanced and also just made awareness around, mm-hmm. in a way. I'm super interested in light conditions and how also light and shadows can play a role. So
I thought it was a great way of like cleaning up the space and showing the imperfection of it. You know,
yeah,
the space.
Because it's a space with a lot of imperfections, small details, like the floor is a bit like, you know, uneven, and there's you know, different borders in the door, and I don't know, it was like an experimental thing, and it was early in my artistic career, but I really enjoyed it so much to be there and to do this, and combining it with drawings that I, you know, got framed and made this series about.
Yeah, no, that was beautiful. And then we continued collaborating.
Yeah.
So Margrethe ran a space in Stavanger for many, many years, which kind of had a similar approach in open source. And so there was a lot of conversation we had about that. And I actually, what was the year when you showed this Prosjektrom Normanns? That was 2015, I think, right? That was.
Yeah, we did. You invited us to do. You invited us as a part of a bigger series that you wanted artist-run spaces internationally to show in your space in Brooklyn, right? So we came over in 2016, and we did a group show where we invited with us other Norwegian artists. So that was also like a collaboration that's that took us further into our conversation, because then you came to Norway after that to do a project that I participated in.
That was amazing. That was because the place that Margrethe is from is called Stavanger.
Yeah, on the west coast of Norway.
It's in the coast of Norway. So now I'm going to share the screen one more time. And I was invited to do a project that we called Find Your Eyes. It was on an island in Stavanger that was called Solust. And it was very interesting because we were invited because there was a development that was supposed to be happening, but the island was fighting against it. So they, to kind of like ease the tension, invited artists to do something there, which then created actually a different kind of tension. So it was a very, very interesting project, and some amazing and beautiful works came out of it.
Is it possible to click on those? Can you? No. Oh.
This one is a little bigger. Yeah. I mean,
no, it's fine. I was just thinking of the pink one to the left. It's actually a very, you can see how tall the work is. I think it's like a vertical picture, but doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. I realize that now. I should change.
But I was just thinking that this work was so much about really, or what I wanted it to be after have been doing research out there and to be invited to interact with the nature. I was there and really feeling the weather a lot. Like it was really silent, but also a lot of, it's windy, it's rough. but then it's suddenly super quiet and there's sun, and it was a lot of, you know, untouched nature there. So I just wanted to make almost like markers for the breath of the wind and the sun or the light. So whatever happened out there, like the weather and the light, and if it was raining or totally bright and sunny, those textile pieces would be reflecting that in a way. So actually, when I was installing those pieces, it was super windy. So the textiles would actually be almost horizontal, right, which was also beautiful, but they were like over the, you know, just like flying from the trees. And then when it was super quiet, they would just fall down again as like a breath. And that kind of brings me also to what my work is so much about, is actually I want it to be like have a presence, or to be actually physically, I mean, for me, tactility and materiality is super important. So it's the presence of the actual materials and how they are used, but still it represents something that, or is maybe reminding us of something that you can't really grasp, like the completeness of the universe versus the total ephemeral or fragile, you know. So those sculptures in the trees there were just like almost like a recording whatever went on there. Right.
So in the back there, I see, I mean, you are in your temporary studio right now.
Yes. Should I show you?
I would like to hear now what you're doing now.
I've been doing, yeah, I'm in my studio. I can show you here. I have a really nice view. This is facing east of Brooklyn, so much more towards the bigger part of Brooklyn. And I have work in here. It's a pretty cool space, right? And actually, that's the building of ISCP.
So that's where we had the first.
Isn't that funny? So actually, I'm in the same building as we started to have the show, you know, in 2011, which is great. But yeah, so I'm in East Williamsburg, and I've been working on a commission for some private collectors that just went to framing last week. A very big drawing. And then I've been using. I've been working on several drawings in pastel stick. That's like, it's hard because I have too much work up here. That's also a drawing made in pastel sticks in several very pale colors. And you can see as it's fading out on the bottom. It's a part of a series called Silent Transitions. So I have there's like a collection of works, and then I have some really new drawings that it's hard to actually give them justice on the screen here, but that's also something that I've been working on for a long time here. But it's been also other works that I don't have up right now, but it's I've been mainly drawing this fall.
So yeah, so the ones that actually are very faded at our screen, they start out also, the edge is really precise on.
Yeah, it's a new project because they kind of there's no edges. They are just like, if you get really close, you really can't almost define where the edge is.
Right.
But when you get far from it, you can see that it's a rectangular form, but it's not defined. So it's about appearing or disappearing. Like in all of the recent drawings I've done as well, like the big one also.
Can I show? Can I pull up your website also?
Sure.
And maybe go through a few more. Sorry.
Yeah.
So this is something very fresh, I think.
Yeah, they are really new. Like those are also like I'm really bad at like explaining like inches, but you're a metric system, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
they are like 230 centimeters high.
They're taller than we are.
yeah, definitely. And then the width is like 150 centimeters, like 59 inches.
Mm-hmm.
So I made them in Stavanger in the summer when I was there before I was able to come back to New York. And they are also coming from the same series, the Silent Transitions series.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like, in a way, the opposite of the rectangular shapes and also all the circles I'm doing, because they are completely, foggy or clouds or just like moving.
Mm-hmm.
In which direction is kind of not clear, but I want it to be in a certain state of transcending in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think they're beautiful. I really
thank you.
am.
So that's like, if you go to the work there, yeah, you can also see some of my recent silk screens there.
Two of them are
Yes.
at our fundraiser, and they're beautiful. I think those pieces are just a little harder to photograph because they are actually very tactile and they have a lot of texture.
Yeah.
But
it is, in general, it is it's in a way, we live in a time where digital what do you say, like digital representation of art is everywhere, and it really forces us to think a lot about good quality photography. And I always use, for this kind of photos, I don't take them myself. I hire for professional photographer. But it's impossible to give the feeling of the texture and the surface and the material used.
mm-hmm.
So I'm definitely I'm so much about experiencing the work in the room, or in the actual physical presence. So it's
Right.
it's hard, but it's and that's also always something that people tell me, like, oh, it's different when they see the work.
Right.
Yeah, I just had a curator here on a studio visit, and Nathalie Anglaise from Residency Unlimited. And it was so nice to have this conversation around my work when I could really have the works in the room, and she could really see how they really have a presence. And she had only seen my work online before, so she commented on that.
Right.
Yeah.
I know. I think especially work that's so minimal, I think is actually very hard to understand on a picture, because there is so much going on in these works. Really.
Yes.
I mean,
it's a lot going on, but it's really hard for a camera. It's.
Oh, sorry.
I just made it difficult for myself. That's basically.
But
I
just want to say I really like them, and we have, I think, this one, right?
Yeah, this one and the next one. No, the pink turquoise one.
Hold on, this one. Sorry, I am being totally escape. And this one, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and they're so beautiful, and they're relatively big too. They
are 75 times 56 or something.
Right.
So yeah, I'm of course like super happy to donate works for this fundraiser because it's super important that open source exists. So I'm hoping that it goes really well and that you have been able to sell a lot of works and that
we have certainly seen a lot of support this year, and I thank like the artists and all the community, and I think that's something really very uplifting that there is such a support system in New York, and there's such a support system for open source in general. That's really what keeps me going.
Yeah.
Let's see. I want to talk just about a few more things, and that's the drawings. I also really love how those paintings here, these kind of wild things.
Yeah. It's a series that it's connected to a lot of other works you've seen, that it's the part of my work that are really like almost disappearing or super transparent, almost you can't really grasp what's going on. It's almost like signs that you really can't figure out the meaning of, or it's almost like it's a form for poetry that I want to,
Right. No, definitely, it feels like that.
Yeah, thank you.
I really like how they.
If you look at the exhibitions and you go to Kunsthall Stavanger, like a little bit more down there to the left there.
This one? Yes.
This one,
this one was beautiful.
That was a show where the series you see to the upper right there, they were represented as the series of five paintings there.
Right.
It's actually watercolor. And it was in a...
And this is another one that was there.
That's the circle again. It's like it's the largest circle I had made at that point. It's, as you see on the screen, it's like almost 190 centimeters high. So you can figure out, it's huge, and it's made of dark blue pastels, like drawing. So it's just the surface that's super velvety. And again, you can't see this so well on the photo, but I guess you can, sense it in a way. And so that was a part of the show, together with my sculptures there, where I find marble and I compose different sculptures from found objects. Mm-hmm. So again, you see, it's almost about these opposites, the one needs the other. The complete form needs the
right
fragile form, or
right
energy. It's about having a slight balance that's kind of almost off when I create shows. So in a way, it's you can see the lines between the first show when you showed my work in your space from 2013. Mm-hmm. It's almost like this, I have this way of working in the room, and it follows me. And there's some links from this show to the one in your space.
Oh, totally. I think so too. Yeah. Well, fascinating and really amazing. And I love having conversations with you about art.
Me too. Likewise, I always love to talk with you. And now I'm gonna go to Stavanger on Tuesday for Christmas and for quarantining, and then Christmas. And I'll be back.
Yeah, and you'll be back, and you will do actually the residency with residents.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'm super looking forward to that. So I'm doing Residency Unlimited, which is a great residency here in Brooklyn in Carroll Gardens.